doggy for sale. It's DOGECOIN, baby. Headed straight to the top. New cryptocurrency. If you ain't got you none, you better get you some. That's what I'm trying to tell you. DOGECOIN. You can't even misspell that. Look at here. Up 86.12% in the past month. That's what I'm talking about. Stocks, baby. Headed straight to the top, son. Wow! We going to the moon, baby. Getting Lambos and jet skis and mansions. Stuff like that. Wow, that's what I'm talking about. Oh, shit.
What's going on, guys? It's K-Dub here with another episode of CryptoZombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having an awesome day today. Bitcoin and cryptocurrency still in the green today. Ethereum kind of neutral. We are seeing some of the altcoins again doing quite well today. You can see Bitcoin is still sort of consolidating in the same range that it has been. However, I do want to point out the fact that we are looking for another big move for Bitcoin, possibly early next week, maybe even by the beginning of the week. It is winding up. So the big question that everyone's asking is that it for the altcoins? Was that the alt season? Should you be in Bitcoin? Should you get out of the altcoins? Should you be doing nothing right now? Is Bitcoin looking to fall? Because what we have actually seen is a lot of markets up. Tesla absolutely skyrocketing. Obviously, we have gold doing very well, and even the Shanghai Composite Index over in China absolutely skyrocketing. So is this the calm before the storm? Well, I do want to talk about one thing particularly, and that is the fact that we do have big investors, actually wealthy investors, buying Bitcoin right now, but they're not talking about it. So why are they keeping it a secret? Do they know something that we don't? Should we be expecting a massive move soon? I want to go into that. I also want to go into some big news overall for the cryptocurrency space, something that's probably really going to get some more eyes on Bitcoin and crypto, maybe even harness in some more adoption. And I also want to talk about a big crypto victory in Malaysia, which is just showing us that crypto and digital assets are definitely the future. If that sounds good to you, we're going to talk about the short-term movements, the long-term potential gains, should you be in alts, wealthy investors, big news, and yeah, that basically sums up today's video, so stick around to the end. Lots of content today. If you're not subscribed, definitely consider it. And without further ado, let's dive into the giveaway scams. Yes, we're not going into the charts just yet. What is going on? So basically, there have been a tremendous amount of Bitcoin and Ethereum giveaway scams happening on crypto channels. There's a chance you may have even seen a scam ad before you even got onto this channel, or you might have seen it in the pre-roll or mid-roll ad. So obviously, if you're new to crypto, you may not know. These are scams. YouTube, hello, you guys need to take care of this. You can see right here. Here's another one, an ETH giveaway scam. Here's one apparently from Sony saying, send in anywhere between 0.1 to 20 Bitcoin and you'll get double that back. This is not a real giveaway. This is a scam, and YouTube definitely needs to figure out what's going on with this because, yeah, not a good look for the crypto space. So if it sounds too good to be true, it most likely is. And with that being said, be safe out there and let's dive into the chart. So altcoins absolutely booming. What altcoin is this? Actually, this isn't an altcoin. This is Tesla stocks. Tesla stocks ending the weekend, closing out at an all-time high. Absolute madness going on in the stocks right now. You can see gold doing quite well. We had gold hit all the way up to about $1,820. We have the Shanghai Composite Index over in China absolutely booming. I do want to show you an interesting fractal. Could Bitcoin soon follow this? Well, we're going to get into that in just a second. But, it has been alt season. Let's be honest. Altcoins have been doing absolutely phenomenal. If you guys haven't checked out my altcoin video that I did on June 20th, pretty much all of these coins are up. In fact, the first coin that I mentioned within the first couple minutes, Elron, I mentioned that at around 0.005 cents, so half a cent. And now we have, 1.2 cents. So basically, you've more than, 100x your investment if you got into this. So great news for everybody out there. But the big question is alt season over with? Well, guys, if you think that it's over with, you underestimate the power of the retail buying. Like, for example, they will never pump DOGECOIN what just happened? Well, you guys just wait and see. But, the big thing is actually when you have a look back at what basically happened in the past, yes, the altcoins can create that excitement for the retail, but usually what actually happens is Bitcoin needs to have a big move. Usually Bitcoin is the one that makes the headlines. It gets on TV, it gets in the newspapers, people start talking about it on the internet. And once you see Bitcoin start to rally above that sort of $10,000 level again, and we start to work our way up to that 14K top that we had last year, and then we match the all-time high, that is when you're going to see the massive rush in. And what you'll probably see is a lot of those gains from altcoins run into Bitcoin. Bitcoin will have a massive run, just like it kind of did. Then it dies off, it dumps, it goes sideways, and altcoins pump. You've kind of experienced that first cycle now, but I'm telling you, in my opinion of just what I've seen in the past, this is just the tip of the iceberg for the massive gains that could potentially be made. So if you're getting bored and, you've stuck it out since the halving, trust me, this is just the beginning. We're just getting started. Oh, and also, smaller side note, yes, we are winding up for a big move, potentially by the end of this weekend, or I'm saying Wednesday the latest. Now, it could not be a big move if we do get supported down here at this lower previous resistance turn support. However, you could see Bitcoin dip below $9,000. It could be a buying opportunity again before moving a lot higher. Now, Josh Rager pointed out two similar moves when Bitcoin went from about $3,000 to $10,000. You can see they're very similar moves right here where you have a parabolic run, then you have consolidation, compression at the top. So he says, what do you think is going to happen next? Well, this time we had a dump when we got to the end, went sideways, major dump. So in your personal opinion, do you think that Bitcoin is due for another dump, potentially long-term sideways movement, maybe for the next few months or so? Or do you think we're finally winding up for that big move? Well, I do want to point out that we did have a fake out right here at the top of the channel. We did get rejected, and currently you could see that if we were to stay in this descending channel, we could potentially have Bitcoin bounce around, touch these levels, and even come all the way down to the lower $8,000 levels. Now, keep in mind, we are seeing a lot of the other altcoins doing well, as well as seeing, for example, Chinese stock markets pumping, U.S. stock exchanges not doing too bad, as well as obviously Tesla doing quite well. I just showed you that. But interestingly enough, the one thing I want to point out, now keep in mind this is not a confirmed pattern, but you do notice that Bitcoin is sort of curving. It's following a bit of a dip, and this looks like it could have been the bottom of the curve. Now, Bitcoin did do something very similar back here, where you could see, let me actually get my drawing tool out, where Bitcoin actually did start to put in a bit of a curve right here. It almost had like a slight cup and a handle pattern before major blast off. So the question is Bitcoin actually potentially looking to do something like that, where we have Bitcoin bounce around in this area for a little bit like this, maybe we come up to the top, then we have our handle, and then we take off. That could be a possibility as well. It's not confirmed, but I am keeping my eyes on it. But if this is the beginning of the formation of a giant cup and handle, then this is actually a very bullish move. However, like I said, in 3 days, we could get compressed to the point where we do have the breakdown. So do keep your eyes on that. Now, CJ over here, EarnCrypt, he says that he is leaning bullish. You can see right here, according to this chart, he says that the daily demand has held, prices pushing through the diagonal resistance, although we don't have a lot of volume yet. Price is above the previous quarterly VWAP, RSI sitting above midpoint, turning up, and we are above the EMA, the 200 EMA on the daily, right? Now, moving over here, also, you can see Polar Hunt. Now, this is something that I definitely don't look at. Now, we do have the MACD starting to cross over into the bullish territory, but he talks about the 27 moving average on the 3-week candle. Very obscure timeline. However, you can see that having a look at what happened previously, not that we do have to actually do what we did in the past, this does look possibly bullish for Bitcoin. Now, I've made videos where I've discussed the potential 50%, 60% pullback, because you can see right here, we are sitting above. Now, if you put this in logarithmic, we're sitting above the trend line. Obviously, if we switch it to regular, we're being pushed down. So you could see zooming in right here, there still is that potential for Bitcoin to have literally, okay, according to this, we have about a 36% drop, which is very common for Bitcoin. We've seen Bitcoin have multiple double-digit drops before having big moves. In this case, that would have us touch the bottom of this basically support, legacy support, before moving to the upside. That is very possible. So it's possible that Bitcoin could have a 30%, 40% dump before the moonshot. That is still in the cards. One thing I want to point out, though, interestingly enough, is if we do go back to basically right here, which is what was happening over in China with their stocks, you could see it absolutely took off. But an interesting thing that was pointed out by TKP Trader, got to give a shout out where it's due. He actually says if you look at this, the Shanghai Composite Index monthly correlated to Bitcoin, they have very similar moves where they had the touch right here, they dumped, then they kind of had a slowly downwards consolidation period, and then this had a breakout, whereas now Bitcoin is in a very similar situation. So is Bitcoin looking to have a breakout? Well, you could see down here, he basically says that it looks like it could be a 2-month lag between this and Bitcoin. Obviously, this is just speculation. This doesn't really mean it's going to happen, but I do like to entertain these fractals. They are fun. So obviously, if you guys are looking to trade this, you could just spot, buy dollar cost average. Obviously, dollar cost average is the best strategy long term, or you could potentially look to use some leverage trading. I do expect a big move potentially within the next couple days, so it might be an interesting time to get into it. Not financial advice. Don't trade if you're an inexperienced trader. If you don't know how to use leverage, I do have a tutorial above. Also, I do have links below in the description if you're interested, but here's the thing. So Jason Williams, now he's co-founder over at Morgan Creek Digital. He says people sell Bitcoin to buy altcoins and straight shit coins. I think that is super risky. I'm sure if real honest historical analysis was done, it would show holding is a superior strategy, just as single stock pickers are losers over those that use an index, in my honest opinion. Not sure why he's comparing Bitcoin to indexes. Kind of a confusing analogy here. However, he does make an interesting point. Now, although we have seen lots of altcoins rallying, a lot of the altcoins that I spoke about in my altcoin video, pretty much all of them are up at this point. But here's something we have to take into consideration. Long-term Bitcoin altcoin cycles. Now, I've been in this space for I wouldn't say a very long time, but I mean, I've been in for, going on my 4th year now, and I can tell you I've seen some Bitcoin and altcoin cycles, and they always play out the same way. Bitcoin leads, Bitcoin takes a break, altcoins surge, altcoins surpass Bitcoin as far as gains, and then altcoins take 90+% dumps, and then they really never truly 100% recover, whereas Bitcoin continues to grow. And we can see right here, if you actually look at the percentages down from all-time highs, it might be a little small for you guys to see on the video, but I assure you, if you go over to Masari.io, you can go to percentage down from all-time high. So you can see that Bitcoin currently sits at a 54% down from the all-time high. The next highest coin, Ethereum, is actually down 83%. XRP, 94%. Bitcoin Cash, 94%. Cardano, 90%. Bitcoin SV, even that is still down more than Bitcoin, 59%. Litecoin, 88%. BNB, which was outpacing Bitcoin earlier, is down 56% almost. So the point I'm trying to make is, okay, we do have a lot of altcoins right now in their first real big cycles. Chainlink is breaking all-time highs, only down 6%. Tezos doing quite well, only down 31%. But if you go into any of the legacy coins or the older coins, Stellar, down 89, Tron, 93, Monero, 86. Do you see the point I'm trying to make here? Short-term altcoins are the place to be. 10x, 100x. But if you're not smart and you don't know when to sell, historically speaking, Bitcoin long-term will outperform altcoins. Now, this isn't my opinion. I'm not being a Bitcoin maximalist. I'm just showing you the data. There are virtually no altcoins that on a long-term perspective have actually outpaced Bitcoin. Now, I know what you're saying. If I invest in Bitcoin right now, if Bitcoin goes to $20,000, I'm only going to 100x. Yes, play in the altcoins, have fun, not financial advice, but be smart and know when to take profits. But just know that eventually it is possible, and we're going to see those pumps. We've seen what TikTok has done to simply just DOGECOIN. So, yeah, that's basically the point I'm trying to make. Just be safe out there. Do know that these things come in cycles, and I do anticipate that when Bitcoin does break the new all-time highs, you're probably going to want to be, or at least hold a little bit of Bitcoin. I would, I hold majority Bitcoin, but that's up to you guys. You guys do whatever it is that you're interested in. But anyway, moving on, like you could see, Matt D'Souza, he basically says he continues to receive tons of questions about when's Bitcoin going to take off, this and that. Obviously, nobody really knows, but he does say that, if you buy Bitcoin at 8,500 versus 9,300, the idea is accumulation. Over the next 18 to 36 months, you could see Bitcoin go to 20K, 50K, even 100K. Does it really matter if you buy now at 8K, at 7K, at 10K, when ultimately we know where the price is going in the future? That is something you need to consider. Now, let's move the shift of today's videos to legendary investors. You have American value investor William H. Miller III, who is founder, chairman, and chief investment officer at investment firm Miller Value Partners, as well as the portfolio manager of mutual funds, opportunity, equity, and income strategy, essentially saying that Bitcoin is the insurance policy against inflation. And it's not only him. We've seen Paul Tudor Jones. Also, if you checked out this recent interview with John Nigerian over at the podcast, he came out. Now, he's a contributor over at CNBC. He's a very famous options trader. He's worth multiple millions of dollars. He basically says that a lot of wealthy investors are actually accumulating Bitcoin right now under the radar, and not all of them are coming out and talking about it. Why is that? Well, we'll get into that in just a second. Just to kind of start things off, he did admit that he does have between 5 and 10% in digital assets, depending on, the given day of his portfolio, most of them in Bitcoin. Now, he goes on to talk about institutional investments in Bitcoin. He talks about billionaire investor Mark Lazary, who's had about 1%. Paul Tudor Jones has up to potentially 2%. Now, keep in mind, these guys have a lot of money, so 2% of their portfolio is a lot, right? According to him, big players on Wall Street are increasingly investing in Bitcoin, but they are keeping it quiet. Why is that? Well, like I said, guys, if you want, go check out the full interview. But the interview is like an hour and 15 minutes. If you want just the breakdown, basically, here's the quote that really piqued my attention. He says, "I think a lot of them will want to keep it quiet as they're getting in because they'll run it. I don't mean that they'll run it in terms of how Bitcoin operates. I mean that they'll push the price too far, too fast. These guys want to take their time. They want to accumulate. They want to get in at nice, low volatility levels, right? He says the exact same guys that I know that don't want you to know basically, or they don't want Goldman Sachs knowing that you're buying, he uses FireEye, Uber, Microsoft because they'll run it ahead of you. He says those same guys are sitting there thinking, I really like this play in Bitcoin, but I'm not going to say a lot about it until I've got enough of this stuff, because we both know, that the blocks of it stand out, so that they've got to stay under the radar so that they can accumulate. Now, he does say in the long run, Bitcoin will benefit from the dollar debasement, noting that he believes Bitcoin has a lot more room to grow. So there is that possibility that we are seeing a lot of over-the-counter buying. Or actually, we're not seeing it because it's not being reflected in the Bitcoin price. You can see it in the volume, but, we've seen a lot of whales moving their Bitcoin, breaking them off into multiple smaller wallets. What are they doing with this Bitcoin? Are they selling it? Who's buying it? It's not going to the exchanges. Prices aren't really moving. We're not seeing major dumps. Now, all of this could change tomorrow, but it does point to something happening in the background. Now, big news. I'm sure you already heard about it, but obviously sources talking to Reuters say that Coinbase has started its process for listing. They're not clear on which exchange they're going to be listed on. Rather than an IPO, however, they have said that they would prefer to go the route of direct listing on exchanges. This is huge. This is big for crypto and the space as a whole. This legitimizes crypto products like a exchange like Coinbase. Now, I know a lot of people out there may have their reservations about Coinbase. I'll be the first one to admit, I'm not a fan of Coinbase myself. They do a lot of questionable things. I'm not a fan of their fees. They also fudge the numbers, always in the opposite direction. If you go to sell, they always push the price down. If you're going to buy, they always push the price up. I know if you use Coinbase, you know what I'm talking about. However, it could potentially be a big deal. You see that they did reveal that they had plans to hold a virtual investor day on August 14th. This does come after the rumors that they're going to do the IPO. Now, getting back to Pompliano, he actually mentioned that they're not necessarily going public, but they are exploring the option or the opportunity to do that through a direct listing. Now, keep in mind, this does still kind of remain at mercy of the SEC, depending on their approval for whether or not Coinbase can go through with this. But Anthony Pompliano did go into detail on the situation, and he gave his opinion. Now, obviously, there isn't enough details, and anyway, he says this public market is exploding. Literally, asset prices are getting pumped to the moon through quantitative easing. The U.S. government put a $2 trillion stimulus package this spring, which I'm sure you guys are all aware. Some of you even got paid for it, in preventative measures against the virus, which shall not be named. And there's even a potential chance for another stimulus as well. So, is this all good for Bitcoin, right? The fact that we do have all this printing, the fact that there's only 21 million Bitcoin, the fact that we do have Coinbase potentially going to stocks, provided that it has the approval from the SEC, and the fact that we're hearing that wealthy investors are in fact, accumulating Bitcoin on the low. We know for a fact some of them have. We had Mark Lazary and Paul Tudor coming out and actually saying that they did publicly, right? And not only to mention that, but in a landmark announcement, you have the Securities Commission of Malaysia's Shahara Advisory Council declaring that digital assets trading is permissible. So while we're still seeing some sort of regulatory issues over in India, Russia's being a little bit weird about it, right? Donald Trump has come out and said that he doesn't like Bitcoin. Specifically, you can see over here, you have Kelvin Chua, the founder of Signy, the first Malaysian digital asset exchange approved by Malaysia's securities watchdog. He says that the announcement bears extreme significance. Also, the fact that more than 60% of Malaysians are Muslims, and he says as the Malaysian Muslim community awaits compliant resolution for trading digital assets, companies like Synergy can now explore potential services that may welcome more Muslims into the digital asset space. And that is the beauty about Bitcoin. Bitcoin doesn't care about any of this stuff. It doesn't care about your race, your religion, your gender, and none of that, right? Bitcoin is the people's money. Bitcoin is everybody's money. It's money for people. It's money for aliens. It's money for robots. I'm getting a little crazy here, but you know what I'm trying to say? Bitcoin doesn't care about that. Bitcoin is truly censorship resistant. It is your money. The governments cannot take it. There are no borders that can hold it back. And that is why I believe that despite this short-term price action today, Bitcoin long-term is still a phenomenal play. Yes, we're having these massive, altcoin gains, Doge, obviously Elrond, great play if you guys got in on that. But for the most part, the way that I see it is that Bitcoin is still the place to be. It is the long-term play. So I hope you guys are being safe. I hope you're having a great alt season right now. Hope you're making lots of gains, but just be careful long-term because as I did show you, for the most part, most of these cryptos, look at this, 95, 94, 61, 80, 94, 97, 74, 72, 83, 43%. What's that? Oh, Lend. Yeah, Lend has done quite well. But, okay, DeFi is a hot topic right now. But come on, guys. What's the next big thing? DeFi is hot now. Is it going to be hot next year? You see what I'm saying? Whereas boring old Bitcoin always has a place in crypto, right? So that's basically where I'm ending it today. Hope you guys had having an awesome weekend. Hope you enjoyed the video. Feel free to leave a like if you found value out of it. I do have a free Telegram group if you guys want. Link is in the description below. If you're not subscribed, consider it. And that is it for me today. So thank you so much for coming back to the channel. You guys rock. I know that I've been taking a few days off. I've been doing a lot of renovations too. I got a lot of stuff going on at my house and stuff like that. And let's be honest, it hasn't really been crazy exciting. Altcoins, but as far as major community crypto space, really we're kind of just waiting for Bitcoin to make its move, and then I think we'll see that play out where you see the news outlets start talking about it. You have the next retail FOMO bubble, and you guys know where the rocket ship goes from there. But that's it for me today. Thank you so much for coming back to the channel. My name's K-Dub. This is CryptoZombie. Until next time, stay crypto, and of course, peace out.